Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are back and we are live right here on your number one network, Truth Frequency Radio, www.tfrlive.com. And I am coming to you still from a very sun-baked Glasgow, Scotland, under the Data Dome, no less. Yes, Smart City Glasgow is checking in. And we're going all the way around the world, from America to Australia and just about everywhere else in between. So a big shout out to you wherever you are, whenever you are, on your number one network. And I am not alone today because I have got Scotty Lopez riding shotgun with me. Scotty, you look as if you're blossoming in the summer heat as well. I look like I'm cooking to a crisp. How you doing, brother?
It's a little toasty, man. It's starting to get a little toasty, and so yeah, summer has set in here in the Midwest. It's only going to get hotter from here, as I can tell. So, yeah. But I know you like the heat, Kev. I know you enjoy the hot weather
because it's
kind of. It's a rare treat over there in Scotland. So, if you want me to offload some of that heat that we're getting here in the Midwest over to Scotland, I would be more than happy because
I'd be a willing recipient of said heat. Willing recipient, yes, indeed. I don't know, dude. When I go outside in the sun, take my shoes off, ground myself, look at the trees, nature, hear the birds singing. You know, I can forget really quickly that I'm in a smart city. Honestly, you know, the trees out the back, and you only see like a small snapshot, but it's like a little oasis. It truly is. And I don't know. I know this weather, though, in other parts of Europe, it's caused mayhem. We've had flooding in Germany and Belgium and Holland.
Yeah, I've seen the scenes of flooding over there in Germany and Belgium and Holland, all of that stuff. That's crazy. Reminds me of the '93 floods that we had here in the Midwest. Just excessive amounts of rain, flooding everything. Pretty crazy.
Bit of feedback coming from somewhere there. I think, Mary, have you got us on in the background? You might
Do I have what, dear?
Do you have us playing in the background? It's gone away now. It's gone. Is it? Yeah.
No, no,
All
I'm just
good.
listening. I'm just meditating and listening to you and Scotty.
You see that meditating has got a powerful effect. So for people out there who haven't realised by now, it's the Buck Moon, our full moon show. And when it's a full moon, we have our resident astrologist come to speak to all of you out there. So later on in today's show, get yourself ready, because I'll be opening up the phone lines and you can have your say with Mary Dusina. And Mary is a star shaman, a psychic, a tarot reader, an astrologer, and a mystic. Now get this, because she was born on the very apt Halloween night and did her first psychic call-in show in the Tampa area in the 1980s. You can get a full reading, enlightenment sessions, and so much more over at www.marydusina.com, and she is here with us live. How you doing, Mary?
I'm feeling very much at peace with and content with, like as Scotty was talking about and you about the weather. Hello, audience. I believe that it's time for all of us. You were talking about the beauty of the trees and forgetting about the AI in the sky of the smart cities. I really humbly ask each of us, and however that we connect with the Creator, Kevin, Scotty, and beautiful audience, that for the floods in Europe, for the droughts and the wildfires around our Earth Mother, that we all participate. It doesn't cost you anything but a bit of heartfelt time, and put your soul signature. This is a full moon in Aquarius, so it's about the air that we wear, the atmosphere, breathing. So if you could just take a moment and breathe in with your eyes closed or looking at nature if you want to be an eye-opened person, and just send energy of harmony, frequencies, in whatever capacity would be the highest, greatest good for Europe, for the Western United States, the heat waves and the wildfires, and any creature, any Earth citizen that's thirsty or hungry or worried or afraid. May you never thirst. May you never hunger. And we as a collective tribe, this day and on all the replays, forever and always and in all ways, wish to send you hallowed light. And may the light and the forces of love and the Creator and the great mystery bring you that harmony and bring you that shelter. I feel it's time. I really feel it's time that, in this transitioning of, since they talked about the end of the Mayan long count calendar in 2012, I really have been feeling, Kev, since the last time I was on your show, there's been so many both intense awakenings of people that had been stuck or twisted or crumpled up like a psychological piece of paper. Their soul is being straightened. The keys are unlocking the codes that we've had forever, if we don't just get too bogged down by earthwalk life. And I'm very encouraged by how people are taking back their power. They're walking with the divine. They're finding a way of source and ceremony and affirmations and intention and prayers. But there's also some very poignant passings and transitions and leaving. It's like, a lot of times when someone goes through a divorce, or there's a death transition, or a sudden shock of someone just not being there the next day. I've gone through all of that since the last full moon. So these bring us to the edge of forever. They bring us to the empowerment wake-up call. It's like, okay, in this 3D existence, there's a lot of enjoy it while you're here, because in a snap of the fingers, it can be completely different. You can fall in love, and one day you can have a miraculous healing. You can be spared from the results of a horrific car wreck, or it didn't take you out. You didn't leave. You have an opportunity to rise back up and have a different perception and a different ability to be able to, yes, although your life drastically changed, our wonderful people that go to the horrors of war, they come back, and they often have the post-traumatic stressors. So I pray for them, and I pray for the animals that are hungry or on the run from floods or fires. So I believe it's as light workers, as way showers, if we will begin to have the due diligence to remember those that have departed, to honor our ancestors, our elders, to bless the babies, to grin at the kittens and the puppies and the new calf in the field, but to also step it up and do our part, each and every one of us, to get that collective energy frequency in orbit and moving, especially at full moons and new moons, and to send that out there, because no matter what anyone's beliefs are or what they agree or disagree on, we are of the human race, star-seeded probably, but we all are Earth citizens. We're creatures of Earth. So it's time for us to notice that, and it's time for us to take note of that and to send our very powerful individualistic frequencies and energies into that collective medicine bag, shall we say. So that's just really what's been hitting me since the last full moon into this one.
Wow, and Scotty, listening to Mary there, she mentioned the Mayan calendar and things, and it thrust me back to when you recently brought on the Kali Yuga and these cycles as well. So I'm thinking that this is all kind of ties in. I don't know if you want to ask Mary about the Kali Yuga, or we'll just kind of send Mary off, because Mary's always got loads to say, and it's always on point. So I don't know if you want to throw something in about the Kali Yuga, Scotty.
Well, I really don't have much to say about the Kali Yuga, but Mary did mention, since the last time she was on, this sort of, it seems like that there's been a lot of kind of turmoil that has been going on with a lot of people. And I can vouch for that, right, Kev? Because what was it, just, a couple weeks ago, I got a concussion.
Yep.
And then I
Oh.
got real sick. I got real sick the week after, because my mom had to avoid a wreck. And I was in the van with her. I'm in a wheelchair, so I'm tied down in the straps or whatever in the back, and she had to avoid a wreck. And she had to jump a curb basically, and it violently rocked the van side to side, and I slammed my head against the side of the, above the window, and I got a concussion, and then that coincided with a stomach bug that I got just like literally a day or two later. Probably might have triggered it because it lowered my immune system or something. I don't know, but
Sure. Well, just a shock.
Yeah, it was just like a whole week of it was a crappy week, and then it wasn't just me. I mean, then there was like a lot of stuff going on with other people in the house, and it just was like this week of holy crap. What else could happen? I mean, cars were breaking down.
It's like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. I mean, it's really been like, I've had so many people say, "What else?" I've had neighbors say, "I don't even know. I don't know what is the next day going to bring some other kind of, a roaring event that." And to Scotty's point, there's been I know we're finishing up the sign of the ocean crab, Cancer the crab, moonchild, and as we so prophesied back on the last full moon, the way the First Nations people and the way several cultures around the world studied the constellations and the animal totems and the meaning of this. Well, we're getting ready to move into the glow and the shimmer of the sun-ruled sign of Leo. It started here in my time zone, here in the mountains, in the Smoky Mountains. It started today. The sun shifted into Leo as we go toward the full moon tomorrow night in my time zone. So, but there's a couple of planets they're finishing up still in the moon-ruled, grandmother moon, the moon-ruled sign of Cancer the crab, known to the ancients and the Persian astrologers and the Phoenicians as the moon child, the child of the moon. So whenever we go through that annually, it's not just this year. If you think about this time last year, you think about this time in 2017 when we had the great North American eclipse in the third week in Leo, in the third week of August in 2017, that had not happened for 100 years, like 99.9 years.
That was the Great Conjunction, right?
Yeah, and it's coming. There's another big one that's coming up, I think, near Ohio in 2024. So all of us knew then that are tracking the stars and the repetitive cycles of our beloved stars nations. We knew that the third week of August the 21st, of 2017 was going to be linked. There was a hallowed bridge of light that was formed that whoever and whatever was around us and that we're dealing with in the mid to late summer of 2017 is linked to where we will be and when we graduate in 2024, like going into the middle of spring in 2024. So to Scotty's point, he went through a major, like all of a sudden he went from cocoon to the butterfly. And in medicine terms, when we dance, that's called shaking medicine. If someone has an epileptic seizure, that's a form of shaking medicine. But when we laugh so hard that our whole body shakes, or we're really into the groove, dancing outside or whirling around, all of those things that actually shake and move rhythmically the body, these are in the terms of like when we shake the rattle, when we're working with certain instruments. So what you went through was an unforeseen, unexpected. Your mother, who you adore, avoided a wreck. She had you on her mind. You had her on your mind. And all of a sudden, one second you're just driving along, and the next second you're in some kind of parallel universe. And it's like, holy crap, and it's just like, ba-bam, and your world changes. So the fact that it's time for us not to take for granted, and I'm not talking about being paranoid, the fact that we don't just survive, but that we're reminded to thrive. We live to see another day. We live to see another day. And we are walking with footprints, as above, so below. We have a footprint. Our animals have paw prints in both worlds. We slip on skin to enter this world, and we walk in this earthly realm on the earth mother but for a while, but we came from spirit, we are spirit, and we return to spirit because we are always at one with spirit. So that full moon, as we were going through the solar cycle of the feminine yin Cancer the crab, and the oceanic life-giving womb waters of our Earth Mother. The salt waters are the baptismal and the life-giving negative ions, all the creatures that have birthed and died, and ships that have gone down, and torpedoes and whale, blow from the top of all of that's out there in the ocean. I mean, it's teeming with resplendent life. When we go to the mountains, we're getting fed by the breast of the mother. So when you're living in a mountainous region, when you're looking at what the Indians call the trees, Kevin, to your point, the standing people, the antenna to heaven, rooted in the Earth Mother's skin, reaching and drawing down the frequencies of Father Sky and Grandfather Sun. So we're now entering into the Sun's happiest place of all 12 Western zodiac signs. The lion rules the heart chakra. Leo the lion, encouragement, courage. As we give over the next 30 days, as we give and how we give, and don't panic if you feel like there's not much money in your pockets or your purses, how we give our energy, that's the true frequency. That's the true currency. So Leo is saying, be magnanimous, be generous, give for the joy of giving, give good words, give encouragement, give blessing. And people don't even necessarily have to know that you're doing a beautiful ritual prayer ceremony for them. You're sitting at the campfire, sending them energy because they just went through a trial and a tribulation. So the audience right now, Scotty, you telling that story and the fact that it's now a past story, you now have the new frequencies of everybody going, wow, God bless you. May the angels, fortify everything. And how do we know with the head concussion, how do we know that your pineal gland and everything to do with your third eye wasn't reset?
Who knows?
You're not from this timeline, Scott. I knew it was a new Scott Lopez. I knew it.
Well, it's very interesting because after all that happened, I looked up, some of those incidents where people get hit on the head and then all of a sudden they gain this new ability or whatever. I forgot what it's called, like something savant syndrome or whatever.
Yeah, and some people that get struck by lightning. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, man, well, I wish something could have happened like that to me, but no, it was just a normal concussion. But for real though, Mary,
Scotty,
I noticed.
Scotty, no. I'm gonna. The Spirit told me to have you pause right there. Don't get in the way of Spirit. I'm not judging you. Don't get in the way of Spirit, because how did I know? I did not know you went through that. Spirit used the very words through me, not Mary Dusina. I'm just a satellite dish. They used the words through me to confirm to you, oh, yes, something did reset with your pineal gland. Because what are the odds I would have said that? I mean, I do believe you were reset. I do believe you have wonders and signs and omens to behold. Before October, before Halloween. I do believe that you're going to have all of this verified, and you can talk to us on the October show going, okay, so this is what's happened.
Wow. Okay. But, to your point, though, I have lately, though, been kind of in this this mode of, encouraging others, and trying to...
That's the medicine.
You know what I mean? Just kind of being a positive sort of, just providing encouragement and trying to help people out, when I see
our words, Scotty, and our energies, our words are our wand. We are the magic wand. We can wound, we can cut, we can abuse, and we can uplift with words. And I'm not talking about sugar sweet stuff just to get your way for the day. I'm talking about, I want to acknowledge how valuable you are in this earth walk. I want to thank you for being my tribal sister or my brother. My earth walk is so much more blessed because of how fate and spirit brought us together. And I want you to know that I see it, and I want you to know that I feel it. And everybody that calls and anybody that gets in touch with me, the readings that I do, as I've told you in the beginning, Kevin, I've told Joe Roop this, I always do a reading. Even the ones I've done with somebody for 30 years that I've known for a long time out of my Florida base, no matter how long I've known them, every time I sit down to allow Spirit to flow that through me, the medicine that they want to flow through me in that ascension type of mode, my intention is that this may be the first and the only reading that I ever do for this other Earth citizen. So I'm full on. I'm 100% in. And it may be they get a reading every 6 months. Every single time, that's the posture that I take. That's how I pay homage to the seraphim and the archangels and my divine presence, because I give it full control. And who comes into my life, how they come into my life, and if I need to drop a guillotine and set a boundary and exit them out of my life. If it speaks, if Spirit says, okay, whether you understand this or not, feel this in your soul, I bow and I comply, period, end of subject. That's it. I mean, I'm totally driven by the Almighty I Am Presence, the Great Mystery, Wonka Tonka, Great Spirit, Holy Spirit, I'm yours, breathe me. Breathe me.
So Mary, when you're tapping into these energies, are you finding,
Yes, sir.
As we move into the future, are you finding these energies are becoming more powerful? Are you
Yes.
finding they're more positive, or are they becoming more negative in nature? What's your experience there?
They're becoming more like, don't debate me, don't analyze this. We're giving you, if you want to tap into a holy frequency of, and I want to go back to whether Art Bell said it or the Bible says it about the quickening, and in the twinkling of an eye it was done. That's the kind of direction that they're giving me. You know, say this sentence, no matter how powerful it may kind of reverberate the other person, it'll be, you know, they'll look at you like, either that's too much woo crew. It's either too much woo, but it'll make a mark, and then Spirit can then speak to their soul, directly to their soul. So I do believe it's more positive. However, when it tells you, this is not for thee, walk away from that, don't get caught up in the divisive tension out there, whether it's political or whatever, do not lend your precious life force to any of that has an agenda other than the light.
Wow.
So we've got to break some addictions. We've got to break some addictions to needing to be right, to jumping into the protest, to any of this. It doesn't matter. It's an earth-based BS distraction designed to be an energetic vampire of your most powerful jewel of your soul frequencies. So if I work with the Holy Ghost...
People have kind of stopped. This is going to sound weird, but you said, like,
No, it won't.
when you feel the urge to say it, say it. So... when I look around now, people have stopped, well, they stopped loving each other a long time ago, but they stopped loving themselves as well. But
Right.
they loved
Right.
and they've fallen in love with, and hey, listen, I'm as guilty as this as anyone else. They've fallen in love with that fake version of themselves online, as opposed to the real world version. And it's more about people altering the way that they actually feel about the world, what they're actually thinking, to tailor that message to garnish, I don't know, validation, verification, to feel like part of a group. For a time when we're this interconnected, Mary, like, we've never been this
here's
connected,
one of the important.
and yet we're disconnected.
Here's an important skill set. To your point, find your definition. Look it up. As Scotty was doing research on different types of concussions in the savant, find your definition in your own spiritual empowerment. Find your definition of empowered discernment. This full moon is in Aquarius. There will be 2 full moons in Aquarius in this signature year of 2021. This one hits the 1st degree. The next full moon will hit what we call the Antarctic degree, the 29th degree. So I look at that as a starseed visiting this world. Whoa, in 2021, I have 2 Aquarian celestial lightning bolts. I have Aquarius wanting to get my attention. So those of you that are a bit chart savvy, so this doesn't just affect Aquarius and its polarity sign of Leo. In each of our soul maps, in our treasure map, which is the heavenly portrait, a photograph of the heavens above at the time and location of your birth, it's called a nativity or a natal chart. That is your soul photograph and your karmic treasure map, both good medicine and some soul challenges that we've got to work out this lifetime. And I believe we signed on for it. That used to make me mad, but now I agree with it. So that heavenly portrait has every one of the 12 Western constellations and their animal medicine right there for us. The time and location of each of our births puts a different one at the front door. Okay, so you can be born a Cancer, and that's your sun sign, but because of your time and location on the planet that your soul incarnated, you might have a Taurus ascending rising sign, which on the medicine wheel is east, where we enter the medicine wheel, and in astrology, the sign that was rising in the east is the ascending sign, and that is the front door into you this lifetime. So the beauty of getting your chart done, whoever does it, or if you study it yourself, is that you become familiar and you begin to integrate your own trinity, your sun sign, the outer light, your moon sign, the inner subconscious realm of treasures and answers with your emotions and feelings and goals and desires and wishes and longings, and your psychological self and what affected you from the childhood and the past lives before this one, if you will, and then the rising sign, which is where the front door opens to your round house of all these different constellations. So finding Aquarius in your chart right now is exactly how the full moon would hit you.
Hold
so
that
if you
thought,
have
Mary. Hold that thought. We're just about to go to the break, and I want to urge everyone, check out Mary's website over at www.marydusina.com. We will be right back. There we go, folks. There we go. So we've got 3 minutes now, Mary, before we go back after the break. So don't you put anything out there. Just you keep your powder dry for when we come back from the break just now, okay? Because I don't want you going full scary Mary on me during the break and losing it for the audience, you know? Yeah, it is what it is. It really is. But no, listen, thank you so much for joining us today, Mary. I must admit, I'm really enjoying when you come on the show for our full moon discussions. And I'm sure Scotty will be joining me at some point and wanting a tarot card pulled. And for the audience out there, we'll be opening up the phone lines in hour number 2 for you to have your conversation with Mary Dusina. And I must admit, that proves to be the highlight of the show. Many of the times you've been on, when we've opened up the phones, it's hearing that reaction, Scott. You hear somebody when they're really nervous, they phone in, they're wanting to speak to Mary. You can sometimes pick up that there's a bit of pressure there, maybe a bit of stress, and then by the end of the phone call, you've got somebody that's all bubbling over and happy and joyous, and I don't know, dude. That's what do you call that? That's been the change for somebody, right?
Yeah, it's helping. It's helping them be fortified. You know, it's like Scotty. It's like giving a confirmation to, was that just a lofty thought? It's interesting. I bounced back from that car wreck, and I'm a researcher, so I'm going to research different kinds of concussions because that's what they told me that it was. And then, but his spirit came through with an idea, a light bulb over his head that said, you know, many people have had a major life shift psychologically, metaphysically. Their soul has walked closer with the divine gifts that they already inherited coming in this lifetime, and their entire life and the continents of their life. They're extra shielded. They're more hypervigilant, aware. Instead of the anxiety of the post-traumatic experience, there becomes the power of spirit's transformation. So instead of just post-traumatic syndrome, it can be the power of the transformative spirit. There can be a different definition on that PTS.
Like I didn't feel like I was traumatized by the event or anything.
You
I
weren't.
just felt, I just kind of felt more like, okay, you know, like
you were committed to the ride.
It was almost no, actually, now that I think about it, it kind of like was a bit of a reset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I like it.
And your higher guides, Scotty, your higher guides and your spirit, the fact that dovetailed today with Kev and I, the fact that you've rethought that, it's like, wait a minute, I'm getting a few more little pearls and seeds of light on this. Watch how you take off with that, and that opens the door for your own hallowed guides, your own divine presence to go, thank you, now we'll take over and we'll give this directly to Scotty, which is awesome sauce.
Liking it. I'm going to put on some music and then we're going to go right back to the network, guys. Here we go. Stand by.
Right.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, messages from under the buck moon. I had no idea it was even called a buck moon until today. But we've got Mary Dusina here with us, and Scotty Lopez is riding shotgun. So, Mary, the buck moon, what other messages, what other information would you pass on to people right now?
Well, you just read that right out of my mind because I made notes about it. So, to certain cultures, the reason it's called the buck moon, like in the Old Farmer's Almanac and such, is because this time of the year in the Northern Hemisphere, the male antlers, the velvet on the antlers, is coming into its full expression. So so the buck moon, some cultures call it the thunder moon. Some First Nations cultures, because of this big summery thunderstorms that can come about, and there's usually a lot more lightning, people running off the beach and the golf courses, in the Northern Hemisphere. So it's the thunder moon, it's the buck moon. Different cultures around the world will refer to it in different ways. I do tend, like Naysay and Scotty, to go back to some of the older cultures. I enjoy learning from my elders and my ancestors. But this one's in Aquarius, so let me give you some tidbits about this for your sign when you're doing the replay. This is also occurring on July 22nd. The full moon is actually tomorrow night where I'm at, but so it starts ramping up for the 23rd and the 24th. But the day of Mary Magdalene, this is also to the Orthodox churches, this is the feast of Mary Magdalene, and so it's celebrating that feminine aspect. She's the patron saint of women and women that have been unjustly condemned or falsely accused. So we have this energy coming into the full moon of Mary Magdalene, the Feast of the Magdalene today for those people that celebrate in that manner. Aquarian colors are electric blue, cobalt blue, like really bright, bold blues. It's not navy and it's not indigo. It's like in your face. How about you doing that? How you like this shade of blue? It's like very electric with that. Leo is all about the violet transformation chakra, and it's also about the shimmer of gold, the angel slides of the sunlight, piercing through the trees and blasting through the clouds. So this is about authenticity. So this particular Aquarius buck full moon, the first one of two, the next ones are blue moon, is saying to us, where have you felt, where have you seen in the last 6 months, because it goes back to when the sun was in Aquarius and the full moon was in Leo, when it was just the flip-flop of this, the topsy-turvy. Where have you in the last 6 months, pause and think, where do you feel in your most private, intimate thoughts that you have been self-sacrificing, and part of that sacrificing has gone against you really being able to feel confident, Leo, in being and presenting your authentic self. So a lot of people, when I work with them, especially in relationships or intimate trauma, they say, they won't like me if I'm my real self. I have to be funny, or I have to pay money, or I have to, be the one that does all the work in the relationship. If they won't really like the real me, and I'm like, you're not even giving them a chance to know. How do you know? You're casting judgment before you present it to them. So the Leo-Aquarius axis in our chart is saying to us, now is the time to branch out. Now is the time to have that leap of faith. Now is the time to be courageous in letting the real you shine and taking that step forward to be bold, to not need to have the applause or the approval, but to be to thine own self be true, to be true to yourself and say, this is really who I am, and I'm not doing a relationship or my child or my parent or my beloved friends, my tribe, if I don't let them see the real me and I don't have those people in my life that I can be vulnerable with. When we're vulnerable with people, we're also very strong because we're on point. If we're expressing something that's tender or that's been a loss or that we feel like crumpled us up, we're right there in the middle. We're ready to show our fangs and attack. If somebody comes at us and treats us inappropriately, it's fight or flight. So that's the lion. And so this particular full moon is real close to where the transformation planet that rules Scorpio, Pluto, is right now. And we also have Saturn and Jupiter retrograde in Aquarius. Jupiter went into Pisces in May. So then it was joined up with Neptune, Poseidon, king of the oceans. And so we started getting more into our supernatural self and our religious self and casting out demons and realigning ourselves with the all that is, the almighty I am, however you celebrate that and connect to that. Not my job to judge it or teach you. Find your own path. But for me, when I align with the divine, I don't have to worry about, like Truth Frequency Radio's motto that I always say I love, your protection from deception. When you align with divine and you are sincere and authentic and you are saying, I am open to the supernatural presence, I'm going to affirm, I'm going to say it out loud with my word power that I am going to allow the empowerment, and I'm going to spell it I-N for a minute instead of empowered, E-M. I'm going to call forth and allow the power in of my walking this earth life by inviting. You have to ask in order for it to be received. I'm going to invite the divine presence to walk alongside me. So Aquarius is the star bearer up in the celestial realms. And Aquarius people are all about liberation and freedom. So in our charts, whatever zone or house or planets that we have in Aquarius, it's where we're out of the box. We're not going to conform. We're going to be the heretic. We're going to be the knight on vision quest. We're going to be the pirate. We're going to be the sea winch. We're going to go against the norms of society, and we're not going to be corralled. It's the horse that says, you're not putting the saddle and the bridle on me. I'm running free. So that's what's summoned up in our soul right now. And so since Aquarius is known as the air element, it's time for us to look at the space that we're in with our consciousness, our psychological space that we're in. Is our self-talk negative? Are we being real hard on our own self by our thoughts and our condemnations and our procrastinations and our doubts and our resentments and our envy of others? These are the shadow sides of Leo. Because here's what the empowered side of Leo knows. There is no competition because I want you to win. I'm into the win-win. I'm into the win-win. So there's not a competition with the higher frequencies of Leo. And Aquarius, its astrological symbol to an architect or a design engineer like my dad at NASA was, when he first saw that symbol, he said, oh, that's the symbol for electricity. No, he knew nothing about astrology. That's the symbol that we use in the architectural design out at NASA. That's the symbol where there's live electrical current. And I'm like, well, that's interesting, Dad, because Aquarius is an electrical sign. It's a yang electrical sign. It's the frequencies of the Almighty. So in your world, that's an engineering thing, that's where there's live power in the wall, or that's where there's going to be live electricity put into the drawing, and it's actually going to be built. But in my world, the Aquarius is the frequencies of out of the box, hard to explain, whatever it was that saved Scotty and his mother from that roller coaster ride that they went through, even though he was strapped in a wheelchair. Divine intervention, empowered presence, that's what that is. And that's when we find out how good our karma is. The car accident that we survived, the things that we survived, the surgeries that we survived. And as hard as it is for some people to accept this, I've sat, recently in the presence of people that were taking their last breath in the earthly realm. I've been with animals. I'm the one that can hold the animal when the vet comes to, when the owners are so upset and distraught they have to run out of the room and they say, I can't watch this. I can't watch my animal be put to sleep. And I'm like, and that's when I volunteered for vets. That's what I did. I said, I'll hold them. I'll pet them. I'll be kissing their forehead. I'll kiss them out. It'll be okay. Because I'm with all that Scorpio in my chart, I'm very strong at the presence of transition. When somebody else is collapsing, I'm like that battery. Like I'm not the battery that can do it. And the dogs and the cats look at me like, oh my God, you're here.
Rather you than me. I still haven't got over my Susie cat. Never will.
I know.
Just never going to happen.
Well, no. Let's take a pause just for this, and I'll finish with it. But one of my dear friends that attended many of my ceremonial fire circles, a beloved Scorpio, he was a star brother, and he suddenly just passed, and he's only 45 on July 10th, Tony Cook. And one of the prayers that I did for my beloved younger brother when he passed in 2003 when we went to his memorial, and of course it was out of the box, so I've got Aquarius in my chart, but one of the things that, because of doing and being trained in ceremonial First Nations cultures, was this. So for your cat, for those people that we miss, those people that still live with us, although their physical skin or shields aren't here. Let me just have everybody close their eyes and take a quick breath. And only make your readings better later. And on the replay, it's going to soothe so many people. And this is one of the Lakota Native American prayers. I give you this, one thought to keep. I am with you still. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on the snow. I am the sunlight on the ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rains. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in their circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine upon you at night. Do not think of me as gone. I am with you still in each new dawn.
Wow.
So when you have that type of medicine, when we've gone through the pain and the emotional gap of losing, like my beloved, Tony Cook, and I dedicate to you, and such a generous white knight of a man, so many times he was at my Native American circles. Many times we celebrated our Scorpio birthdays simultaneously, his November, mine on Halloween. So I know now that he has a footprint in both worlds, in the heavens and here, because there's memory, there's electrical, magnetic frequencies of people that love him, his family, his nieces, his mother, his sister, many, many people that knew him. And here's the signature of how they knew him. He quietly just showed up and gave. He gave money. He fed the homeless under the bridge, but he did all this stuff very quietly. When he came into money and he was a hard worker, he was always wanting to bless somebody else. So it's interesting that at times I think we need to be reminded, Scotty and Kev, that we're building our legacy now. We're building our legacy now. How people remember us is not just the words that we say, not just limited by that, but the actions that we did, the frequencies that we swirled around somebody. So if you're an Aquarius or a Leo, right now is one of the most intense times of 2021. For that part of our chart, it's where we're going to summon the courage and like the old Star Trek slogan, to boldly go where no man has gone before. This is space. This is tech. This is AI. This is being able to be stealth and under the radar of any prying eyes that are attempting to satellite and spy on us, or this is the times where you might find delight in leaving the smartphone at home and going out saying, no, you sit on the kitchen table. I had a life before you. And that those generations that have not known, since toddlers have been playing with a smartphone or their Kindle or their iPad or their laptop, I would encourage you to try and learn something about yourself, how addicted you are to the black screens, because it's another form of crime.
I think a lot of people might have got a reminder today. We had PlayStation Network went down. We had the Steam online gaming store went down. There was about 30,000, about 30,000 websites went down. There was banks going down. So I think today people might have just got a little taster of what it's like to be unplugged from the matrix. So
I think it's healthy.
Yeah, very timely that you bring that up. Scotty, what do you make of what you're hearing from Mary here? You're nodding away like I am.
Yeah. Well, it's very interesting because I told you before the show, Kev, that I had reformatted my computer, right?
Yep.
And it was just, I don't know. I there was something in the back of my mind. I don't know what it was, but something was telling me that my computer was compromised somehow. I don't know why. Like I just had this sudden feeling that somehow something was on my computer that I needed to get rid of. Like that it somehow was compromised. So I reformatted it and completely wiped out the drive and reinstalled Windows and all of that. But I kind of regularly do that anyways, every about twice a year or something like that. But I don't know. I just had this sudden feeling that I needed to do it. So I don't know.
Here's the beauty of that. Your intuition got your attention and you listened and you complied.
Yeah.
You didn't talk yourself out of it.
Yeah, I always go with what my gut tells me.
Yep.
And if it tells me that I need to do something, I immediately do it. So
get out of your own way. Yeah.
Yep.
But let me give the phone number out to our brilliant audience right now, because maybe you'll want to call in and have your own word with Mary Dusina. All you've got to do is dial 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. And Mary, I'm going to trouble you to pull me a tarot card in just a moment,
Absolutely.
if we have time for that. But Scotty, have you got any more questions just now for Mary before I take her into the realms of the tarot?
No, I mean, once again, Mary has kind of blown my mind and has pretty much confirmed everything that I was thinking about and sort of,
But Scott, you've got a smiley face on now, right? And I find when Mary comes on, I usually leave the show a lot happier than when I came onto it. And that's not to say I'm miserable when I come onto it. But I like the vibe that Mary brings with her. Would you agree with me
thank
that
you.
there's a positive vibe?
She definitely brings an
Yep.
awesome vibe that definitely it uplifts you throughout the show, and then you just come out feeling a lot more. You just feel better.
Yep.
You just feel a lot better. This is it's a wave of positivity that just kind of embeds itself in you. So
Yep. I like it.
I guess I paid attention. Growing up in these Smoky Mountains, because I had this little 90-some pound mountain, truly off the grid mountain mama that knew about herbs and everything. And she would look at me. We'd be sitting on the porch swing, just like you imagine in the Appalachian Mountains, and she'd look at me and she'd say, just out of the blue, she'd say, and she was a Pisces, so they have an otherworldly thing anyway, and she'd look at me and she said, and God said, let there be light. And I'm just kind of looking at her like, okay, I guess I'm supposed to pay attention. I'm like 8 or 9 years old. And she said, and there was light. Now you think about that while I go get some buttermilk and cornbread. And I'm sitting there in the swing and you hear this echo. And God said, like very commanding. And this was a woman of few words, but oh boy, did I get my power DNA from her. And God said, let there be light. And she'd put that little bony, twisted finger up, and there was light. Now, you think about that while I go get our cornbread and our buttermilk, and I'm like, okay.
So, Mary, how young were you when you realised that you could tap into the animals and the energies around you?
I came out with. I mean, my mom and dad would like, oh my God, she'd sleep outside with the skunks and the possums if we'd let her do it. Like I said, we had a lot of acreage, and I'd always want to sleep outside on the concrete carport over in Knoxville. But I remember being 5 years old, and I've told this story on Lighting the Void with our Captain Aries Joe over there. I remember vividly, as if it were yesterday. That's why I know we're all time travelers. Laying on my back on a summer night, I would always go out there and gaze at the stars. I mean, none of the animal sounds or things that went bump in the night bothered me. Maybe that's a Halloween birth date. But I would look at the stars, and I would just travel, looking at the stars. And, of course, your mother at some point starts looking for you after she gets your brother settled. And she comes out and she goes, now, of course, it's country. It's Tennessee. Marilyn, where are you? And I'm like, I'm right out here. I'm just out here looking at the stars again. And she said, what are you doing? Why do you do that? And I said, I'm trying to figure out how to get back home.
Wow.
5. And so my mother's like, okay, I'm going to get your dad. So she goes and gets dad because he was more the right brain. And she was, she was a Pisces too. So she was mystical too. But it was just, sometimes I freaked her out. I didn't freak out dad. I freaked out mom. I didn't freak out my mama either. And he said, what are you doing? And he'd sit down on the carport. I said, Dad, I'm looking at the stars, and I'm trying to figure out how to get back home because this isn't home. How precocious for a 5-year-old. And he goes, okay, this is your house. I'm your dad. That's your mom. That's your dog. This is your carport, and this is your home. And I said, no. I know I live here, Dad. I'm talking about home. And this is way before E.T., Phone Home, and all that stuff came out. And he said, okay. And he said, so how does it feel? And I said, I love my stars. I said, those aren't just stars, those are eyes. Those are the people that love us, and they're watching us. And he said, I'm good with that. That's logical. And so they did. Neither one of them negated it with me. But here's what I found out. I kept it quiet in my teens. I was quietly studying astrology, but I kept it quiet in my teens. And then I realized in high school I was the popular little bitch because I knew how to do charts, and everybody said, whether it was a cheerleader or a football player or the principal of the school would say, hey, listen, I'm a Virgo. Tell me something about myself. So all ages were interested in their charts and everything. I'm just, who knew? But I pretty well kept it low key because I found out that humans were very difficult for me to understand the games that they would play, because creatures of the earth, you see right away. They're hungry, they're thirsty, they don't like you, they're going to bite you. I mean, it's just right out there what it is. So in my life, I've gravitated, I've transitioned over the decades that I don't have false-faced, game-playing, betrayer, agenda-seeking people around me. Sorry if you fit into that category. It's guillotine time. I don't do it.
Don't you change for
everybody can
anyone,
be
Mary. Don't you change. But listen, I want to kind of drill down on this even further, if I may. Because in recent times, you've listened to some of the shows we've done with the guys from Down Under.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of talk of the Seven Sisters, the Pleiades.
Pleiades, yeah.
Yeah, so in your time, since the age of 5 until now, have you come to a better understanding of just where in the stars you come from?
I'm very drawn to Sirius. I'm very drawn to that whole, this not so much Orion the Hunter, but I'm very drawn to the Pleiades and Sirius. Very drawn to those two. And I went to tons of UFO conferences and was a member of MUFON on the west coast of Florida. Sat with all those names that have written the books, Linda Moulton Howe and John Mack. All those people were right there doing all the lectures. All the 90s were involved with UFO and Native American stuff, and I was privileged to John Lear, all of them, met all of them, and studied that, because I was always on that quest from, I don't think I'm from here. So that took me into UFO stuff well before most people, and that took me into studying the constellations with the Egyptians and the Persians and Zoroastrianism and Buddhist. I mean, I kept studying Upanishads. I kept studying, what about the stars? What about the stars? And so I know that I'm meant to be here, but there is no doubt in my mind that I'm of a different frequency. That doesn't make me better than anybody else. I'm just glad I recognize that there's something. Maybe I'm a hybrid. I just know that I haven't had negative alien abductions, or which I think are government, or anything, a lot of them, anything else like that. But I've seen ships. I've had, like out-of-body experiences where I'm standing right there and there's like a ship over the lake, even where I'm at now, and I'm rubbing my eyes going, no, I am not seeing that. I don't care if I am a psychic. I'm not seeing that. And there it sits, and I'm like, okay, what portal am I in now? So it's like I know that I have a great help in so I see us as multidimensional. I see us. I don't limit God. I don't limit the divine. I believe that we are multidimensional, biochemical, crystalline computer creatures. I mean, I think that we are magnificent, and I believe that our Earth life, as magnificent as Gaia, Mother Nature, is in her own way of alchemy. I believe that we let the material world sometimes bind us and keep us asleep. And if we would just start to open and breathe in our magnificence of the Almighty I Am, I believe we would see major shifts on this planet for the better and with ourselves. And it starts with us. If you start with yourself, you're a spoke in the wheel of how this lifetime and this earth can be. So a lot of people have complained of late over the last 3 years, they don't like the direction of this or that, or they don't like what's going on. Then what are you doing to put halos of light around our Earth Mother, whether you want to do that ecologically, or you want to do that politically, or you want to do that all self-centered? Then it starts with you. Because the law of attraction is, if you're out there cheating and you're greedy and you're grabby and you're evil intended, even though you've got on a societal mask, the law of attraction is, it looks like they get away with it. Trust me, they don't. It's coming back. It's a boomerang. It's a karmic boomerang. And sometimes, Kevin, being a heavy Scorpio in my chart, I got to tell you, being born on Halloween night, I kind of like it when the karmic boomerang comes and knocks somebody off their feet that's mean. Kind of like it. Not going to lie. I'm going to be authentic. Kind of like it when I go, oh, snap. Oh, look, you thought you were a bag of chips and all that, but you ain't my Frito-Lay. Wham! Good. Yeah. Wake up. I'm okay with it.
I like a bit of that. Now, we're almost on the break. I don't know if we've got time for you to pull a quick tarot card before we get there.
I'll do it. And let me say this as I've got your frequencies on the phone and I'm quickly doing, we're going to do it. We're going to do you and Scotty. Is that this full moon brings up the frequency of the 17th trump card called the star. And because it's at 1 degree, for those of you that like to study this on the internet, because it's at 1 degree, it's also pulling up the magician in the major triumphs, the major trumps of the tarot. So I wanted to give you that. So
17th,
I'm going to...
the 17th trump card. You couldn't make that up. You couldn't.
No, it's 17. It's called the star, and then the magician is number 1 in the major arcana. Okay, thank you, Spirit. Okay, you got the Queen of Pentacles. So although we're shifting into a yang energy of Leo, The Queen of Pentacles is the earth sign queen. So a feminine yin type of beneficial energy of someone that's a Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, or in those seasons. So our next season of the earth is going to be in the third week of August when we shift around the 21st, 22nd when I'm back with you into Virgo. So there's something due to a woman or women that you interview or women that are in your life or connections with women, people that are bringing different guests on the show. There's something about like your mother, siblings, the females in your clan. There's something about the feminine energy of this going to be a blessing and even something lucrative. There's something that's going to end up being a good creative idea born from the instincts and the insights of women in your life to say, I think this would be a good idea. I wouldn't ignore that. Queen of Pentacles.
I learned many years ago, wise man listens to women. Wise man listens to women.
If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. If your wife or your beloved isn't happy, ain't no man going to be happy. Okay, let me do Scotty.
Yeah, now hold that thought, because we're about to go to the break, folks, and we'll be back.
When we come back, it's Scotty's turn.
Scotty's turn, and we will open up the phones for all of you, so don't go anywhere. There we go. Almost hung up on Mary by mistake, but I managed to avoid that. I think we done that last time, didn't we?
We did.
I saw your little. I saw the little cursor hovering by my name at first. I was like, "Oh no, don't do it, Kev, don't do it." And then he was like,
"I'm terrible."
No.
But listen, we've got a quick super chat I'd like to play here from Patrick. Let me play this just now.
Patrick Belmar donated $10 through Super Chat. Thanks for getting the truth out, Kev.
Oh, listen, there would be no point in us coming here, Patrick, without all of you people out there to watch it. And I know I speak on Mary's behalf here and Scotty and thanking all of you for tuning in today. It really makes my day. And I hope some of this positive vibe that me and Scotty, we top ourselves up for the month when Mary comes on. And I like to think that the audience out there, you can kind of feed off this energy as well. You're smiling, Scott. You know I'm not just making it up.
I was just about to say, Kev, I think I know what it is with Mary that makes me so happy. It's because she's got that wonderful Southern sort of comfort thing going on, and it reminds me of a lot of the women in my family and all that stuff. I mean, we're originally from Texas.
Oh, nice.
So I mean,
similar.
In anybody with that wonderful Southern drawl, it makes me feel so comfortable. It does. It really does.
Thank you. Well, look at Texas and look at Tennessee. They both begin with T-E, so when you put those together, like in the old cartoons and the videos when the little animals are running around or a little kid goes T-E, T-E, I'm like, oh, look, that's Texas and Tennessee. That's what that is. T-E, T-E, that's Texas and Tennessee.
Oh, thank you, Algo. Wow, dude.
Algorithm donated $20 through Super Chat. For finding amazing guests like Mary.
No, she found me. Mary found us. Yes, Mary found the Kev Baker Show. I don't know how it happened, but I'm telling you, I'm so glad it did. So listen, folks, I'm going to shove on the music again, and then we will go back to the network. So don't go anywhere. Let me just find a different tune this time. I've had that one about a bajillion times before. And let's see. Go for this one. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hour number 2 on today's Kev Baker Show with Scotty Lopez, Mary Dusina, and all of you out there as well, because the phone lines are open. The number you need, if you are ready for it, is 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. So before the break, I got the Queen of Pentacles on the old tarot deck. And now Scotty Lopez, Mary, I'm going to hand you over to Scotty and you can pull him a tarot as well.
I'll do it. First off, I would like to say the people that did the super chat, the people that donate to you, Algol and Patrick, immediately understood the constellation energy of Leo, which is ruled by the sun, our great day star, and stepped right up, right on this show on the first day of Leo here in July. The first day of Leo, the day before the actual full moon on the 23rd, 24th, depending on where you take residence in the world. And they came forth magnanimous with what? Gratitude. Gratitude, generosity, and thanks. And that is your best assurance for dodging demonic energy or negativity and all that they wanted to give to you for the work and the generosity that you're doing, Kev, and you're doing, Scotty, and Nasa, and all the shows and all the work and all the computer and all the stuff that you do to bring people on. So I also would like to shout out to you and say thank you. Thank you. So what we have for our reset pineal gland Scotty is, and I think what I'll do is I think I'll go back to I had to change my accent when Dad moved us out of Tennessee.
Well, like that,
I moved out of Tennessee when I was 11, and when I moved to Florida, people made fun of me with my pigtails and my overalls, and I had to knock them in the Florida swamp, because I was a tomboy and I knew how to fight. So when they made fun of me, I gave them one warning, and after that it was like, step over this line and watch what happens when that swamp moss goes right in your mouth. So the card that you have is the King of Swords. And the King of Swords is the King of Spades in regular playing cards. So the King of Swords, it's the element of air. There are two white eagles that are flying off at the shoulder area on this alchemical deck of the Star Tarot, which I'm using the tarot called the Star Tarot because we have an Aquarian full moon. And what happens is that his cloak is his cloak is indigo with stars all over him. He's holding the single sword, so he has the sword of Excalibur, if you want to start going into legend and myth. And then he's holding a disc, a golden disc of the star of the sun. And although his element is air, so this would be in your chart, and the zodiac signs that are the air element, which is yang in frequency. And so that would be, our first air sign is Gemini. Then after that, we move along the zodiac, and then we come to Libra. And then, look, Aquarius. When we do the zodiac in order, in the turning of the Gregorian calendar, if you start the new year in January, which I don't, then it's Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. But in the Western zodiac, Aquarius is the 11th sign. So in my mind, because in my mind, the wheel starts with the spring equinox in my zone. So Aquarius is number 11. You have the King of Air. So the fact that the air that you breathe, the words that you say, the prayers, the ceremonies, the affirmations, the Ace of Swords is tied with the King of Swords, and this is saying, planet, move with it. This is got to do with, he's the father of intellect. It's got to do about clarification and perceptions. It has to do with more favorable outcomes of any legal situations or major decisions that need discernment. And actually the key word of the air signs is discernment. So intuition plus discernment equals success. Very powerful. And I'll send a picture of it after the show over to Kev so you can see the beauty of the card. I'll send both of you your cards so you can see it. And Kev will have the power to get that to you.
Your guy sounded cool with a sword and things, Scott. I got like a queen. My talk.
You'll get the picture. You'll get the Queen of Pentacles. She rocks. She rocks.
See, that's okay then. Now I'm back on board. I like it.
The Queen of Pentacles, honey. She has to do with secure material world sensuality, lushness, and pleasure. So she's those soft moments. She's how at the end of a hard working day you come in and it's like, I had no idea you made my favorite dessert or my favorite porridge, and oh my God.
You can have your king, Scott. I'm happy. I'll keep my queen. Yeah, I'm happy again. But listen,
That's right.
the
Oh,
phone
yeah.
lines.
It's a card of opulence.
Oh, Mary, I don't know what you do to the phone lines, but we are full up. And I want to go, first of all, to area code 425. You're on the line with Mary Dusina, and welcome to the Kev Baker Show. Hello?
Hello, Kev.
Hey, is that Nacy?
No, it's your brother from a pearlescent mother.
How you doing, bro? How you doing?
It's Frank. How you doing, my man?
Frank, man, you've been on the move, brother.
More ways than one.
Yes.
More ways than one, my
Absolutely.
friend.
So listen.
You have no idea what I've been through.
Oh, Frank, tell us about it. Catch us up quickly, and then I'll pass you on to Mary for a reading.
Well, I'll do this as quickly as I can. I was kindly kicked to the curb, and I am now living in North Carolina with my son. I made a 3,000-mile journey in 82 hours, and it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. And don't let anybody tell you that everybody is screwed up in this world, man. I saw this country from one end to the other. Man, they're all normal people doing normal things. I didn't see anything that was weird. You know, it's like the old Bill Hicks thing. Stick your head out the window and see what you see. Well, what I saw was absolute normality, and I loved it. It was great. But, hey, one thing I'd like to say very quickly, you have my phone number, correct?
I do. Yeah, I think you emailed me at Frank, yeah.
Well, I don't know if I emailed it to you or not, but I need to talk to you. It's of the utmost importance, and I need to do it as quickly as possible. So please keep that in the back of your mind. If you'd like to take me off air and I'll shoot you the number or give me an email where I can email you my phone number, I really, really need to talk to you. But anyway, I've been through a lot the last month or so. And normally I wouldn't call in, Mary, to talk to you because I'm just not that person that does those types of things.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
I felt impelled to do this today when I heard you were going to be on. So have your way with me. Let's see what you got.
Thank you, and I'll be gentle but firm. Number one, he's not kidding, Kev. The main reason he got through first and foremost in the first day of the Leo sun is that there is some connection that the two of you need to message about. The words will be important, so I'm going to confirm and verify and piggyback on what he said because Spirit's like,
Well,
I've
got the number here. I've got the number. I've taken it down, so I'll get in touch with you.
Okay, so we've got that business out of the way. Two cards fell out for you, Frank. One of them is the illumination of the Ace of Wands. So in regular playing cards that most of people that go to casinos and such like to play card games with, that would be the Ace of Clubs. So I always look at that as a magic wand, like you have emotion in motion, you have energy in motion, and I feel like you're like a whirling dervish. When you go into changes or changes start flying at you, it's like pew, 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 and it's just like you're doing all kinds of ninja stuff and martial arts stuff, and it's just like you know, it's how you let it go past you. And this Ace of Wands is like it's all gold. There's like the colors of the sunset in the clouds all around it, and it's like clouding up, almost like you would have like a fountain overflowing perpetually, and there's all these radiations of light. The lightning bolts are coming in, but they form arrows of white feathers that are going out. So I feel like it's like an innie and an outie with you, that all the things that have happened in the outer realm of chaos and seeming confusion and crisis are actually like a soldier putting his boots on the field, like you've been through a type of psychic and psychological battlefield, but you came out on the other side going, oh, okay, so I was like the adventurer, I was like the Robin Hood, and I went here and I went there and I let go of that, and Spirit's telling me there was a reason for you to be tempered like steel. You know, the blacksmith, the ironsmith has a very high heat that happens to that metal before he can bend it. Same thing with the glass blower. That glass becomes very fragile and pliable when the heat is applied. So I feel like you've been juggling situations, but I get this overarching feeling that as strong of a personality as you are, it was almost like, okay, I just got to let go, man. I just got to let go. It is what it is. I'm going to become a Buddhist. And what I keep hearing is one of the Buddhist precepts of the degree of suffering that one will encounter is directly proportionate to his resistance to the what is. And I know you get that. I know you get that.
I do. I do.
Totally.
Get it.
It was meant to be. You're at a crossroads in your life, and you will prosper. You will prosper, and you will be blessed. Period.
I already know that, Mary, because I have been blessed. Even through all the adversity that I've been through, my life was ripped from me, literally. But on the positive side, and I know this because God told me this, there are good things to come. And now I'm in a place that I know I can apply as much good as I possibly can and do as much good here as I tried to do back there. And I know that in my heart, and that's what's keeping me going.
I can tell you one more thing. You've died without having to die in the body. The old part and aspects died, and you resurrected and you landed. Boom.
Like the phoenix, huh?
Exactly. That's your totem.
And Frank, I've got your number here, so after I've done with my daily game of Scrabble with my mum, I'll call you later on,
love
okay?
That.
Thank you, Kev. I really appreciate that because I
Frank,
really
thank you. Listen, Frank, I'm with you in meditation and prayer. I'm going to send you these frequencies on this Ace of Wands. I want you to go look that up and have fun with that on the internet with the deck or the card that you're drawn to, and the quivering and the shaking and the waterfalls of momentous tears, releasing the fears. I'm telling you, you come out of this a very powerful warrior that has tripped the light fantastic, and you've walked between worlds. This is big. You're now finding out the real destiny of your life, and I salute you.
Thank you, Mary. I appreciate those words of wisdom and those words of encouragement. And I needed that right
You're shielded.
To be honest with you.
You're shielded. You're shielded. Breathe the divine. Call it. Ask it. Call it. Claim it. That's what you do when you get off the phone. Okay, good.
Will do.
Thank you for your trust.
I'll speak to you later, brother,
I look
okay?
forward to hearing from you.
No problem,
Thanks,
brother.
brother. Appreciate
Thank you
it.
for calling in, Frank.
Right.
Thank you, okay?
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Wow, I'll call Frank later, folks. Don't you worry about that. I will get right on
Thank
that
you,
after
Kev.
the show.
You're on mission. You're on mission.
Yep. So on to our next caller now, and it's area code 801. You're speaking with Kev, Scott, and more importantly, Mary Dusina. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Kev. Hi, Scott. Hi, Mary. It's Lacey.
Bless you. Bless you, Lacey.
Nice
Bless
to speak to you,
Thank
Lacey.
you for...
Thank you.
Go ahead, Kev.
Mary, can I get a card?
You can. Interestingly enough, you got the moon. So I know you're filled to the brim with feelings and emotions right now. I can feel both a little bit of shakiness, of hopefulness. I can feel like, is this real? Is this fantasy? Am I kidding myself? Am I back at the gate again of how I first got out of a cage and now I've got myself caged again? Have I gotten in my own way? You know, I can feel this back and forth going on with you. But the moon has some interesting animal totems on it in most tarot decks. It has, in most true tarot decks, it has a dog. Dog in animal medicine is extreme faithfulness and loyalty, a quality that you admire, a quality that you can give. In some decks, it's either a wolf. In most decks, it's a wolf. In some decks, it looks like a coyote. Now, coyote is Heyoka medicine out in when you go to Taos Pueblo and you go out into Anastasi, so you get into Heyoka or Cocopelli or the trickster medicine. And on the medicine wheel in the south, the two animals are the hare, the rabbit, and the coyote. And so often little mice, field mice, and rabbits and whippoorwills are food for the predators of coyote. You know, the whippoorwills are like potato chips in the field to a coyote. When you grow up in the South, you learn that. You only get to hear them. You hear them at night, and all of a sudden the coyote comes in. It's like, oh, damn, there goes the whippoorwill potato chip. So, and then there's a crayfish. There's like, you know, the moon is the ruler of the constellation of the sign Cancer, the ocean crab. So they'll have a crab or they'll have a crayfish or a lobster with its claws raised, coming up out of its home of the water onto a path, raising itself up to be under the submission of the subtle yet life-altering emotional frequencies of the moon. The moon changes signs every 2.5 days. It goes through all 12 signs in a 28.5 to 29-day cycle. It's our fastest-moving constellation that we look at in astrology. Moon equals moods. So you've been moody, you've been longing, you've been a little frustrated or doubtful, or it's like, I don't know why I even give a damn kind of a thing. But I feel like this moon is rising to help you let go of the things that are from your childhood that eclipse you. You know, when you're afraid that someone might not accept you, or you're afraid that someone might not, you know, call back, or that they might walk away, or that you're not good enough. I just see all that coming off of you, just like if I were cutting out a picture from a magazine. I want to cut it out because I think it's pretty, or I want to save that recipe, and I feel like your recipe is being saved. It's like your recipe is getting saved. And I say to my guys, does that mean something like she's valuable? She's valuable. Of all the recipes that are out there, this one is being chosen to be saved and to be worked with, and it becomes the soup or the roast or the cake or the wonderful cobbler. She's got ingredients in her recipe now that are delicious. Do you need me to say that again? You have ingredients in your recipe that you already know by your own God-gifted free will. You have components that are delicious. You don't compromise that for anybody. You don't change your all-natural ingredients of who you are and what you bring to the table, and sensuality and love and loyalty, your faith. You got your little, no matter how many times you've been hurt, you raise those claws up there saying, I believe in love, and I know no matter how anybody else hasn't played fair with it, I know I play fair with love, and even if I get hurt, I believe in love. You want to debate me?
No, not at all.
That's right, honey. That's right.
Thank you.
You are delicious, and you have delicious ingredients that go together very well to make a very wonderful recipe, a timeless recipe, one that people would cut out and save in a little box or take a picture of with their smartphone. So I want to tell you, love, real love, not societal, hey, you're attractive, you want to meet up and hook up and send me a picture, la, 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 and all that surface stuff. No. The good stuff is coming. The good stuff is blooming between September and March of 2022. So the fact that you didn't, here we go, settle for less and let somebody add too much onion or too much sugar to your already delicious recipe shows that you had the diligence and you had the determination to believe that how God finally crafted you is your uniqueness, and it's exactly the way it's supposed to be. So let them go change their recipe because some of their ingredients suck. How about that?
Thank you. Thank you so much. I love you.
Steady Meddy.
Katie Mary is
Thank you,
on
honey.
fire. Wow.
Thank you.
Lacey,
Thank you,
thank you
sweetheart.
so much for calling in today. That was absolutely fantastic. Wow. Now, we're not going to waste any time. Scotty, this is insane. I mean, the call board, you don't see it like this unless Mary's on. It's outrageous. We're going to
Thank
area
you, God.
code 775. You're on the line with Kev, Scott, and Mary. Are you there?
Well, hello again.
Hey, there we go. There we go.
Well,
Mary,
hello
over to you. I'm going to shut up.
Greetings, caller.
Thank you. It's me again. It's Siri. I'm that
Yes,
Pisces
ma'am.
lady, but I have
Oh, okay,
Aries
Pisces.
rising.
Okay.
But I have Aries rising, and I have Moon and Mercury in Aquarius, 10th house.
Okay, so do you have a question, or do you want me to give you what I get?
Get what I get. Well, I'm.
That's your Aries
Imploding
talking. So let me give you a little
Yeah.
celestial recipe, because I have to keep it where it'd be interesting to the whole audience, not just someone's singular chart. Remember, I did a radio show for years in Florida.
Yeah.
So let me tell you this real quick about the Aquarius, Pisces, Aries blends out there, any of you. Right now, Jupiter has been in Pisces, so wherever Jupiter is, just to give the audience a teaching nugget, wherever Jupiter is by what we call transit, whatever sign it's moving through, it blesses that sign the most. Went into Pisces, in May. It's right now. People talk about the age of Aquarius and they talk about the age of Pisces. It's right now at the very beginning of Pisces because it's retrograde and it's going to slip back into Aquarius. Right now we hear the song, The Age of Aquarius. Okay, so it's going to slip back into Aquarius, and we've got the sun in Leo. So this is taking us back to the January of this year and what started to change for us in mid-spring of this year in the northern hemisphere. What was it, winter? You know, when it's summer here, it's winter over there. So mid-fall. On the southern hemisphere, there started to be a big shift. Jupiter's moving fast this year through the sign of Pisces. So for all of you Aquarian Pisces out there specifically, and because I'm that astrologer, wherever you have Aquarius and Pisces in your own birth chart is where we're getting a reset. You don't necessarily have to be bound into a chair and get thrown into a roller coaster like Scotty had to go through. But what I'm telling you is the sign of Aquarius and Pisces, you're prime for a reset. Spirit's going, hey, and it's snapping its fingers in front of your face going, stop it, pay attention. You need to open your eyes and look externally at what's been frustrating you and what part you play in that. But now it's time to close the two eyes that you open with your physical body, and why don't you look with the one that looks within? And that's the third eye. That's the pineal gland. That's meditation. That's prayer. That's ceremony. You need to close and sit in silence and chant or pray or listen to a YouTube meditation or whatever, or go to a meditation group, and you need to shut off the outer chatter and analysis, and you need to go within and say, and what would you have me know, my beloved divine presence, source, great mystery, Wonka Tonka, I'm not here to petition, I'm here to listen. What have you for me? What have you for me to know and see and apply myself to? And your card is the prince. There's pages and princes and princesses. It's the Prince of Wands. There's something about your physical body that you need to allow to be revitalized. You need to think about the teas you're drinking, if you're eating some more raw foods, if you're like backing off of salt or backing off of dairy or a little less sugar. I'm not condemning any of these, but I want you just to balance it out. You know, if you're eating a whole lot of meat, you might go into some more fresh veggies or slaw or tomatoes or something. But I feel like you need to balance it out. And Spirit's telling me that some dandelion tea or maybe some milk thistle would help, like the liver area of our body. You can regenerate it. And milk thistle and dandelion tea and dandelion root go in there. And most of the yellow flowers in nature go in there and they purge and revitalize the liver area of the body. And the liver is always connected to the kidneys, always, always, always. So I feel like maybe like a couple of bags of dandelion tea with your peppermint tea, or make iced tea if you want to, but I feel like there's an urge to purge. I feel like you need to purge. And the liver is like if you've ever owned a fish tank or you've watched a fish tank, they have to clean out that filter. That's our filter. So the liver area has a lot to do with hidden resentments and anger. And the kidneys and the bladder have to do with not being pissed off, letting it go. And they're connected. So the Prince of Wands is good news coming in, but you're at that last little cycle of being able to go ahead and let go of what was disappointing, of what did build up some resentments, and what someone promised that they didn't deliver on. That's their crap, not yours. But you're stuck, and their energy is eating away at your aura if you keep in that paradigm that moved on. Let it go. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you have your marching orders.
I like it. I like it. Thank you so much for calling in today. Awesome.
Bless you, sweetheart.
Now we're gonna save the rest of the callers till after the break. But wow, Mary, that was quick fire. Scotty, there's something about when you open the phone lines up. It's something else, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing, and it always blows my mind, like, how unique the astrology thing is to each individual.
Yep.
Yes.
Because it's something that I've never really understood for a long time, right? Because I never did a real deep dive into astrology and exactly how it works. I just assumed that, oh, you're born in this sign, and that was kind of the blanket thing that everybody, but then I learned to know, it all depends on when you were born, where you were born.
Oh, it's so much. There's so much to it.
Very, very unique tailored sort of, every person has their own, essentially it's their own identifying fingerprint,
Soul portrait.
when it comes
Soul
to the-
portrait.
You think about the royal family and the elite
Yep.
families over the years. I don't think it's any coincidence that they happen to have like a resident astrologist on hand, to help them
I'll
when
give
they're
you a little
making.
secret.
On you go.
I'll give you a little secret. I'm going to tell you a little secret since you mentioned the royal family. When I was doubting my own ability, are these guys real, are they demonic or whatever, it was the Queen's Silver Jubilee year, 1977. And I'm in my teens, and I'm saying to my guides, no, I got to know. I'm a Scorpio. I got to know if this is real or not. I need some kind of big evidence. And they're like, okay, what? When I was meditating, I said, I'm going to pick somebody famous, and I'm just going to handwrite a letter and tell them that I'm going to do their chart. I mean somebody big, somebody famous. And if they don't answer me and this doesn't come back to me, I don't trust this, and I think it's too weird, and I think I could be beguiled and bewitched. I'm like, let's go. Let's rock and roll. So I went, the Queen of England. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do a president in this country. I'm going to do the Queen of England because my mama is Scottish and English. I'm going to do that. I've never been to England. I sat down. It was 4 o'clock in the afternoon in Florida. I sat down and I hand wrote a letter. Your Majesty, I didn't look up anything. Well, it wasn't the
Now,
internet.
hold that
I
thought,
said,
Mary. Hold
Your
that thought.
Majesty?
We're right on the break.
Okay.
We will be right back.
Okay.
Don't go anywhere, folks. Sorry to cut you off there, Mary, but we hit
No,
the
it's fine.
break.
No, thank you.
We were coming in hot to the break. So listen, let people know when you're going to be back on with our good friend over at Fringe FM, Joe Roop.
It's on the new moon that I'm with Lighting the Void on the fringe.fm, and it's on the full moon that I'm here with Kev and Naysay and Scotty. So I come on at the full moon here, but it's www.lightingthevoid.com, and I'm pretty sure I'm checking, Captain Dave. I'm pretty sure it's August the 8th. I think I'm on right at the Lions portal of 8. No, it's going to be Monday because the 8/8 portal is a Sunday. It's going to be Monday, August the 9th, and that show in my time zone, talk about doing this, Kevin, I do it from midnight to 2 a.m. live. The phone
Oh,
call.
nice. Well, my show, it's 10 p.m. till midnight. I like the late night radio, I must admit.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. I do too.
Yeah. Is it still
do. I
daylight
love it.
where you are, Scotty?
Yeah, it's 5:30 p.m. where
Yeah.
I'm at right now.
And I'm at 6:30.
Yeah, that'd be a weird time of day for me to be doing a show, I must admit. It feels strange.
Well, we appreciate your time.
Oh, no. Listen, I appreciate you coming on here. And more importantly, the audience appreciate you coming on here. Because when we open up these phone lines, it's one of the rare occasions where we get to hear from the audience. And not only that, but invariably, they go away feeling a lot better than when they called into the show. So it's like win-win, win-win, win-win. And we're all about the winning. That's what I say. So we're going to come
Absolutely.
back. Well, sorry, Mary, we're going to come back in a couple of minutes and then we'll get into the last segment. We'll pick up where we left off with you writing to the reptilian queen. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are ready for the final segment of today's absolutely epic full moon show with Mary Dusina. I've got Scotty Lopez with me. He's going to chip in just a moment. But first of all, I want to go back to Mary real quickly and find out what happened when she was writing to the reptilian overlord in the guise of our queen. Yes, what happened, Mary?
I hadn't even studied any of that at that time. I'm pretty sure the Queen's Jubilee was it's either 1977 or 1978. So I'm at my dining table. I just sit down and I quickly write a letter saying, I'll pick the Queen of England. I just wrote down I didn't study anything. I just thought I better say Your Majesty. Your Majesty, the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth II. And I wrote, I am an astrologer that is in Florida. Here's a couple of magazines that I currently am writing a monthly article for. I would like to make the offer of doing your astrological chart as a gift for Silver Jubilee. So when I sealed it up, that's all I did, and I looked at the clock going, uh-oh, the post office is going to close at 5. So I zoom out the door, get in my car. There was a Virgo that worked at the post office, loved him. He's now in spirit. Hi, Afton. And he's sitting there, and he's going, I said, Afton, I need your help before you close. And he said, what? And I said, I don't know the address to the Queen of England. I think it's like Buckingham Palace. I don't know. And he looked at me and goes, what are you up to now? Because he saw me on TV and radio. I'm like, I need to get this letter out. I'll explain the story to you later. And he's like, all right. So he says, well, it's just Queen Elizabeth II, blah, 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 Buckingham Palace. He said, that'll get there. And I'm like, okay. So then I hurried up and mailed it because I was going to change my mind, thinking, what a dork. Why would any queen or any monarch be interested in some teen that's living in Florida? You really, but I thought, I got to test my guides. Okay. 2 weeks go by. 2.5 weeks. And we had a really jovial postal guy that would walk every day, and I'd have to put my dog in him because my dog wanted to eat him, but I just loved him. And I was upstairs. We had an old English type of house. Yeah, we really did, a Tudor type of stucco house. And I look out the window, and I'm like, he has a letter. He has a letter. My guy said, yeah, here comes your answer. And I'm like, oh, is it a letter? Back from England? Like, yeah, get down there. So I come running down the stairs, and I go out to him. I said, you have a letter for me. You have a letter for me. And he goes, how did you know that? I do. It's from England. He goes, this is like from Buckingham Palace. And I'm like, just give it to me. And before I opened it, and thanked him and hugged his neck, and thanked him, and I sat down, and I said, I don't care what it says. I don't care if it says, if you ever write here again, we'll arrest you. I don't care what it says. I'm not attached to the outcome. I now know that these guides that are talking to me are real because I told no one. The guy at the post office knew I was mailing a letter to the Queen. I didn't tell my mom. I didn't tell my dad. And then I said, so I don't care. I'm not investing in it. But as the story ends, it was written to me by the lady in waiting, and that Queen loved the interesting magazine, and she would very much like to accept my gift of interpreting her astrological chart and putting it on a recording and sending it to her by mail. And I just sat there, and I'm like, I'll never doubt you again.
Wow.
What was big for me, which was weird, wasn't that the Queen of England said, yeah, hell yeah, I'd like to have my chart done. For me, it was just like, wow, out of the thin air, on an afternoon when I rushed to a post office, my guides have been telling me the truth all along. I won't doubt again. Thank you for the confirmation. So I'm big on validated confirmations. That's big for me.
That's pretty wow, I must admit. Scotty, over to you, bro.
Wow. Well, it's interesting because, I was listening to that last caller, right? And I believe she said she was Pisces, right?
Yeah.
And Mary was talking about, was it Saturn going into Pisces and
Jupiter.
Aquarius?
Jupiter went into Pisces in May. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And you were talking about kind of like detoxing and changing kind of, and that resonated with me. I just thought I'd bring this up because literally on Monday I started going back on a diet.
Here we go.
I'm changing.
Back to your keto diet.
Yep. That's exactly what I'm going back on, and because I got off of it and I kind of gained some weight again. So it was around that time I just decided, you know what, it's time to make the change. It's time to go back on it. And so that just resonated with me as well. I made
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
And,
but see, when we do a diet, Scotty, when we do a diet, if you will, as diets can go, if we do a diet for wellness rather than vanity, there are people that are gauntly skinny. You know, there are people that are short and tall. I mean, it's like little
Indeed.
different colors of puppies and kittens. I like it. I like the difference. I kind of have an issue with the people that keep putting shots in their face and end up having like blubber lips. It's like, why do you think that
that's
looks good? You know,
crazy,
just let
isn't
your
it?
face be there.
Yeah, that's like, I don't get that either. I mean, don't get me wrong, it looks
No.
semi-attractive up to a point, and then people just look like a duck. I don't get it. But listen, we're going to
Yeah, I
have
don't
to
get
get
it either.
back to these calls because
We can do it. Thank you, Scotty.
we can do it. Yes, Scotty, I'm telling you, man. See, I'm telling you, Mary is on it. So let's go to area code 720. You're on the line with Mary Dusina.
Thank you, Holy Spirit.
Hello, Mary, Kevin, and Scotty. Nice to listen to you all. Since you got a lot of calls, I'll be quick. Mary, everybody around me, there's so many changes. There's so much movement. It's going so fast for all of them. I'm standing here in the middle, calm and collected and undisturbed. And that's when you spoke about the confirmation. I want to make sure that I'm doing that right and not just, letting stuff fall apart when it's falling apart. I feel like I'm in the right place, but I don't know if a card or your guides or somebody can just give me the clarification that I'm doing it the right way right now.
Number one, from the pitch and the timbre of your voice, I know that you're centered, and I know that you are the calm in the eye of the hurricane. I mean, I know Scotty and Kev, they're both intuitive water signs. They can pick up on that too, that the strength in the consonants of your voice. I mean, I'm sure the audience is hearing it too. We need to have those strong center, the center, and when life storms are going on, there's got to be those people that are able to stay calm in the middle of the crisis, in the middle of the storm, so that when other people are getting ready to be thrown off the edge of the earth, so to speak, they're like, I got this, I got this. Now, you're the type that after the freaky, geeky things happen, you're the one that needs time alone to decompress and recharge your soul battery. That you're good in the crisis, you're good in the storm, but then there needs to be where you get in trouble is if you don't take. It's like what they always say: make sure that the caretaker takes time to take care of themselves as well. The card that you get is the 10 of Diamonds, which is the 10 of Pentacles, and here we have a royal king kissing his queen. They've come together. The twin flames have been able to meet each other. They're going to form a kingdom together. There are circles with stars with radiating points of light coming out 6 times all over around the stars. There's the red roses that are often in mythology and fairy tales, the red chakra, the life force chakra. The red roses having to do with love that we cherish, life, people and moments that we cherish, whether they're here with us or they're walking alongside us in spirit. So there's something about you're very centered in who and that you cherish, and that's what your medicine is, the things that you know are reliable, that you can count on, the qualities in your personality, as well as the people in your life that have stepped up, been authentic, proved themselves, that whether it's a storm or you're kicking back a beer and laughing, it's real, it's reliable, and it's right. And that's who you are. That's who you're real, you're reliable, and that's what makes it right. Does that give you the confirmation?
That gives me the confirmation. It does lead to a quick follow-up question. Does that mean
Please.
all of the obstacles that I see it's gonna take care of itself, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And I venture to say
it's gonna take care of itself.
What I feel is when you get around like the 11th, when you got to get past the 25th of this month when Sun opposes Pluto. When you get past, that's going to give you an indicator of how much somebody can take and how much somebody's going to hold on that needs to let go. Once you get past the 25th of July, I feel like that right around August 5th, 6th, 7th, that's when I think that the storm is. That's it. The tide recedes and the sun comes up. But feel free to call next month and get through and let us know. Or email Kevin and let him know how it turned out, because both Joe Roop and I, and any radio show I've ever done with any live producer, I do love to hear the follow-up of how it helped a person, because that keeps us all sharp.
Yeah.
I'll make myself a note to do that. I happen to know Kev, and I can contact him, and I will follow up after the 25th.
Please.
Or around the 6th.
Please. Thank you.
Keep up the good
I
work,
appreciate
Mary.
it.
Thank you for your spirit. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Mary, you don't know it, but you were so spot on in describing Algo, our good friend there. He is the calm in the storm. What a voice. He does his own YouTubing. You can find him at Algorithm.
Oh, good.
Yes, people can
Oh,
go
good.
and a very balanced individual, very wise man indeed. So it was good to hear you there. But we've got another of our hardcore KBSers on the line from area code 804. Welcome back to the show, my good friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Hi, Kev. Hi, Mary. Hi, Scotty.
Hello, my
It's nice
dear.
to finally meet you. This is Jules.
What a great
hello,
name,
Jules. What's up?
What a great
So
name.
before
Do you have a-
I do anything, times
ma'am.
are tough right now, and I'm feeling it myself. I just want to let everybody know that through all the chaos and the turmoil that's going on, there is somebody that loves you.
Absolutely.
I like
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. And if you got to hear the first part of the show, Jules, because of what Algo's saying and Scotty went through and people that I know, I mean, there's been 3 deaths in this since I was on the show before, 2 animal and 1 human. And so these take us to the edge of our strength, you know, when you have to put an animal to sleep that Kevin and I talked, when you go to the edge like that or something gets killed, you know, in front of you, when you go to the edge like that, it shows you not only are you the love for the one that had to go, not only can you be an anchor in that storm, but then it also fine-tunes you. You hear the tuning fork of spirit go off to say, be that for somebody. Don't get drained. Make them do their own work. You can lead the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Everybody's got to do their own work. I don't care how good a reading is. I don't care how powerful your chart is. You got to put your boots on the ground and you got to do your soul work, okay? You got to do the work. That's what discipleship is all about in any culture. You got to do the work. But in your case, I feel like that the fact that you wanted to, in this Leo season, give that no matter what's going on in your life, you're loved both supernaturally as well. If you're not getting it in the physical world right now, as far as the validation of people loving you, although there are those, as you say, Jules, that do, there is supernatural presence. There is sacred guardian angels. There are archangels. There are the Ophanim and the Seraphim, and you just simply have to ask. So out there, if you're hearing this live or on replay, if you feel like that you need that helping hand or you need that supernatural, paranormal, golden shimmer of divinity, ask it. Ask it to come. Breathe and call it in. Call it in. And so when you do that, then you can allow that medicine to come in its invisibleness, if you will, in its frequencies, and then it can then get the crooked places to be made straight, and that's what a spiritual quickening involves. Okay, so do you want to know your card?
I wasn't going to do this, but I have things on the horizon and current things that are bringing strife, and I would love to read a card.
Okay, what I got for you is the 8 of Hearts, which in the Tarot is the 8 of Cups. And what's happening is there is, interestingly enough, from the depths of the Maya, of the ocean, from the depths of the ocean, there's these golden chalices, and there is a mermaid, a merperson creature coming up alongside a dolphin and a white dove that's come up between the seas, the crest of the sea's wave, up into the clouds, and there's a mountain and a rainbow and an indigo star. So the indigo colors talk to me about like a blue sapphire, like Virgo, which starts the 3rd week of August and goes into the beginning of autumn over here called the autumnal equinox. So I feel like that everything that you've been going through, I feel like it ties back to 2 things. I feel like it ties back to 9 years ago, and I feel like it ties back somehow to some strife that started in 2001 and 2002. But that's a deeper reading for a different day whenever you, or if you decide to do a personal thing. But there's this mountain, and the mountain is actually the spirit of the mountain. Mountains have spirits. Cultures know that. And the spirit of the mountain is saying, I am your medicine. I have arrived for you in this daydream that Mary's telling you about. Yes, it's been a hard climb. Yes, you've had to get over the obstacles, but I am your mountain, and I am your mountain, and I'm going to allow you to get to the top. And the rainbow, whether it's God's covenant, that the world wouldn't be destroyed by floods again. The rainbow has a lot of meanings in different cultures. In Greek mythology, it's the goddess of the rainbow is Isis, and she is working with color frequencies, and so you can breathe in different colors. Color therapy might be very good for you. right now to actually just breathe different colors and cleanse the chakras that way. But I get this feeling that you're at this crescendo of this, and she's coming up to be, she can now swim up to the mountains, the base of the mountain, and the dove and the dolphin are taking her like from the top of the sea up into the sky world, up into the earthly realm. So it's kind of like that story where the mermaid can take on legs. And because she takes on legs to walk on the earth landscape, she has to give up that she won't be the mermaid tail anymore, that she's going to switch the tail that helped her navigate in the high and the low tides and go into the depths and be able to have a cloak of invisibility in the oceans. She's going to take on legs, so she'll be seen more, but she's actually going to be able to actually be in touch with the trees and the land and the mountains and the stars. You know, she's going to be, it's like you're walking into a whole different world. I feel like everything's changing.
And I kind of feel like it is, and that's the energy that I'm feeling. And I honestly missed the first 45 minutes of your show because I came in late, and I am Aquarius, so I'm gonna have to go back and listen to
You'll
everything.
love it, yeah.
But again, my reason for calling is earlier in chat I said I wasn't gonna do it, but my soul needed to connect with everybody because people in chat are my family too. And my family, you guys cheer me up. So I wanted to just call in and spread the love if possible.
Jules,
and
you
that's
always...
the magnanimous part of Leo.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jules, you always brighten
And
up the
Mary,
room.
thank you for your time.
Thank you, honey. You know what? It's like Kev said. See, these callers, this is the shimmer of Leo. This is the golden chakra. This is the shimmer of spirit to earth, earth to spirit, as above, so below. That's the medicine that we need right now. We need the heavenly frequencies and the angelic realms and our holy guides, our sacred guides. We need to invite them on this earth walk right now and watch the storms subside.
You know, Jules came on with Nano Girl recently and done a show about sci-fi predictive programming. I urge everyone to check that out over on YouTube. Very, very interesting indeed. I love Jules. I really, really love Jules. She has been such a fine addition to our Discord family. Honestly, thank you for everything, Jules and Algo. And everyone that are in the chat right now, if you're over on Disco, you mean the world to me. And we're going to area code 906. You are on the line with Mary Dusina. Is there anybody out there? Area code 906. Welcome to the show.
I heard a hello.
I did.
Hello?
There it is.
Hello.
Oh, do you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you. You're on with Mary. There you go.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if I had my phone on mute or if you had me on mute.
It's me. I confuse everyone. I confuse everyone. Don't worry about it. Mary, over to you, sister.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, caller.
Hello.
Do you have a question?
I called in.
Oh, good.
I would like to catch you up on what happened. But first of all, I'd like to tell you my star sign and have you pull a card for now, and then I will catch you up. I am a Pisces with the sun and the moon node in my sign, with Libra rising and the moon in Leo.
Here for service.
Much about my personality.
It tells me a lot of stuff. You're here for service. You're here to give, and at times the Pisces part of you has, at times, sometimes kind of mused about, it seems like I'm always the one to feel other people's pain and want to give to them and want to encourage them. Do I get a turn? Do I get a turn? So, and the card that I get is the 3, which is the Empress, because with Pisces, you're either a victim or you're victorious. You're either a victim or there's victory. So it's like the victim takes us into a type of vampirical energy, even though times we are actual victims. So we got to stay away from that when you've got the Pisces strong in your chart, and you have to always rise up and be victorious. And I am taking on the frequencies of victory. The card that you have is one of the major triumphs, the major trumps. It's a 3, which brings in all kinds of Trinity, above, Father, Son, Holy Ghost, and it has to do with me, myself, and I. It has to do with all kinds of things. But the 3 of the Empress pulls in Libra, it pulls in Venus, and it also pulls in the fact that the Venusian creativity is when we are actually involved with medicines of the earth. So what you're eating in plant life, flowers, planting, gardening, being able to actually go to a farmer's market or have that friend that says, hey, I'll give you some tomatoes if you'll give me some squash. So there's something to do about you actually eating local, supporting local, planting a few. If people just started planting a few herbs every year, I'm growing beets every year and oregano and lavender and rosemary, and I cook with it. So, in certain flowers that are edible. So if you just start with that, it doesn't take a lot of room, and you know exactly what went into your soil, and you know exactly that you're loving it and bringing it from seed or from young plant, and you're nurturing it, and you're actually that creator God, if you will, that Lord over that plant's survival. You're actually there giving sustenance, which is always good for us to be able to actually be in that creator form. It gives us a sense of security. But the 3 is also the agent of creative change, and when you pull 3 in numerology, it has to do with pregnant, with possibilities. So I see choices coming before you. I see that there'll be 2 sides that go this way, no, go that way, do this, no, do this, and then I think you're going to have to, examine both sides of the potential equation and walk through, using that discernment that I've been talking to Scotty about, that Pisces discernment, because you have to not be lured by other people and what they think you should do and what they feel is best for you all the time. You've got to use that Pisces gift of a natural acumen of intuitive prowess, and you've got to thine own self be true and listen to that and stop doubting the magic of that. Now catch us up real quick.
Well, I have a farm. I have trained horses. I have chickens, dogs, cats.
Love it.
I have a garden, and I'm also a beginner herbalist. I've been growing herbs and picking herbs and learning about the trees and all the plants around my farm. My previous call-in, I had a real good friend of mine listen to it, and he said, you had me pegged right on. You said that I was in a waiting period, which I was. I was about to end my marriage, and I couldn't do it in the middle of winter.
Right.
I had to wait till spring because I think it must be the Libra in me or something. I'm very fair-minded.
Pisces, too. Pisces has compassion that other signs don't have.
Yeah, and so I finally got him out the door, and it took a lot of prodding. And right now my life is kind of upside down because my son moved in for a short while, then he moved out. He's in Kentucky instead of the UP.
This is good for you. This is strengthening you to be able to live alone. Yeah, well, but it's strengthening you not to have...
I was a single parent for 20 years, so I have no problem living alone. And people say, what are you going to do now? It just cracks me up. It's like, well, what do you expect me to do?
Yeah, you can be a single parent. Okay, you can be a single parent, and that's a lot. That's a lot of intense medicine, but you still had someone there with you. I had a psychiatrist friend of mine. We used to do a show in Tampa called The Psychic and the Psychiatrist. It was really cool, and I'd go on his show. And he said to me off camera one day, he said, you love animals, don't you? I said, oh, yeah, heartbeat, boom, boom, boom. And he said, you'll never really know, although you're an independent woman, you're never really going to know what loneliness feels like until you can go a series of years, like 3 years, Mary. I said, 3 years? He said, 3 years without a dog or a cat. And I'm like, I've had dogs since I was 6 years old. And he said, again, you'll really know that you can walk this earth alone when you can. It's easy to get rid of humans. And he said, but do it. I went 4 years. I made myself in 2014 when my dogs died, 4 dogs died naturally of old age in that year. And I made myself go 4 years without having a dog. I hated it. But, I'm so strong now. And, of course, I have another rescue dog now in 2018. But I made myself do it because that echo never left me, that I needed to have that in my tool belt, that I, not as a woman, not as a man, that as an earth citizen, that my lean-to, my love, my cats and my dogs, that I could go just as a human without an animal. So let me tell you, Let me tell you, I didn't like it. It made me face myself in the mirror. So although you were a single parent, you weren't technically alone. You were raising someone else in the home. What I feel this has done is it's toughened you up even more. The soft turtle or the soft Cancer in the crab or the turtle in the turtle shell, they're actually one with that shell. I'm one with that home. Now what you're doing with this, wow, for the first time in my life, my son lived here and he moved out, and now I can really start to have to face and think about, what do I want to do? What's fun for me? And what makes me kind of creeped out and scary clown and all that? What do I want to do? So you're growing again.
Right. Well, people are always asking me, aren't you lonely? And I say, no. Why would I be lonely? I've got friends.
Right.
If I feel lonely,
right. You got tribe.
If I feel like I need to talk to someone, I can call them.
Well said.
And what you do, when we get out of a difficult or toxic... Okay, good for you for the garden and the farm. That Spirit was right about that. When we get ourselves,
Mary, 20 seconds.
Okay, when we get ourselves out of a toxic relationship, then better can come in, not bitter, better.
Right. And I have a friend we're like two peas in the pod.
Good.
Absolutely.
So I think you've got your message.
All the time.
Fantastic.
You got your message.
Thank you so much for calling in today. Now, regular girl, if you call in next month when Mary's on, I will prioritize you and put you to the front of the line. Regla is here all the time, so I'll remember that. But Mary, I can't thank you enough for today's conversation. So brilliant. Everyone check out the website, marydusina.com, and wherever you are, make it TFR and dinny touch that dial. There we go. Now we're still on YouTube, obviously, guys. But Mary, let me first of all, before I let Scotty speak to you, thank you so much. And I want to let the audience know it's a big thank you to Mary that we came online today on the simulcast. So usually we do it just over on TFR. So if you're wondering why we're here today, a big thank you to Mary Dusina. She suggested it, and I thought, you know what? Yep, my gut tells me that definitely a good night to simulcast. Scotty here as well. And for the audience out there, Scotty is he's like a little Duracell bunny. He's raring to go. He thought it was maybe going to be last week. He thought it would be maybe this week. But next week, we're going to let Scotty boy off the hook. He is going to be unleashed, uncensored, and we will only be on TFR next Thursday because Scott is going to be very algorithm unfriendly and shooting from the hip. So, Scotty, I'll let you say thanks to Mary before we let her go.
Oh, once again, absolutely awesome. My mind is blown. Once again, Mary just, it's amazing. It's amazing. I can't.
But we agree, Scott, right? I mean, me and you are firm believers that there's very, very much something significant to the whole astrology thing. But me and you, when we've looked at it, it's too complex, right? It's like, wow, all these moving parts to take into consideration, planets, retrogrades, moons, suns. So although me and Scott can't break it down like a Mary Dusina can, it doesn't mean we don't believe in it. And I think, we both thoroughly believe in this stuff.
And one of the main takeaways that from this show in particular was I found it interesting how we had multiple callers who said they normally wouldn't have called in or thought about.
I caught that too. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Something pulled them or told them that they needed to call in. Was it Frank and Jules? So I thought that was very interesting. I think it's this kind of turmoil thing that's going on with a lot of people, or that has been going on with a lot of people. They're just kind of like looking for answers and kind of wanting to kind of feel a little bit of comfort in what's going on around them, So I thought that was really interesting. And then just to kind of validate what, about the whole Pisces thing, right? Like you're either a victim or you're victorious, like Mary said, right? I'm Pisces, and so I can identify with this a lot. We tend to be too nice a lot of times. We're very empathetic, but we can also be very easily taken advantage of because of that.
Well, think about the symbol, honey. Think about the symbol. It's the two fish that aren't really going anywhere because they're facing opposite directions with each other. So what's your balance sign?
Yeah.
If you're a Pisces out there, your balance sign is Virgo, where Virgo is the logical, just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. You know, no, if I got to hold it, touch it, smell it, or it's not real, where Pisces is dreamy and paranormal and able to see things that other people don't see, because Pisces sees the inner world and the upper worlds much easier than a logical earthling does. So no matter what our zodiac sign is, if we'll work with our opposite sign, we'll soon be able to get the benefits of that. Our opposite sign balances us in astrology.
I like it.
Yeah, indeed. And that's something that, you know, I've worked on and overcome throughout the years. But, you know, once upon a time, you know, me being too nice and being taken advantage of was a problem.
That's
you
it.
know, I never knew when to say no and stuff like that. So,
but here's the thing with Pisces. Here's the thing with Pisces. They'll often walk a mile to get their feelings hurt. They know what hurt and rejection and judgment feels like, and they just don't want to do it to other people.
Yep, indeed.
It's a good way of looking at it. Mary, when is the next full moon? When's the best
date to have you? Let me give you that real quick so we can. Yeah, so we can both write. Okay, I've got September 20th. Which is we're going to August, right?
August,
Sorry, the second full moon in Aquarius. Sorry, my page is flipped to September. So let me go to August real quick. I promise I'll be there. Okay, I've got the 23rd is a Monday.
I've got that free if you want the Monday.
Yeah, because the full moon's exact. Yeah, I like the moon day. The full moon's exact on the 22nd of August. But Monday's the day where it would be ripening. You know, it'd really be ripening. So I think that Monday the 23rd would be good.
That's perfect. That's you in. It's in the emerald tablets of Kev. Yes, that's what I call the rota. So you're on there. That's you. You can't. Once your name's down there, you're done for, Mary.
That's fine. Listen, I appreciate you both, my white knights, and I sent the pictures of the Queen of Pentacles and the King of Swords, Scotty's card, over to your messenger, so then you can forward it on to him.
Awesome. I'll get to that, and
and kind of look at the symbols of it, okay? Kind of just really look at the colors and the symbols of it, because there's no doubt in my mind that the two of you champions of intuitive strengths will be able to pick up your own messages from that. And I found that just gazing at a card sometime, you know, like right before you go to bed, or, you know, when you're kind of just chilling out, you know, just gaze at it and ask it to tell you a message, and you'll get it.
Oh, I like it. So, Mary, I'm going to let you get going.
Thank you again.
But thank you so much for your
and
time.
thank you for helping promote people getting readings, and I'm so glad people donated. That's wonderful to me.
Thank you so much, Mary. You have a
See you
brilliant
guys
day,
soon.
okay? Speak soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, honey. Bye.
Now, Scotty, before you go, let me, will we take a quick look at our cards? We take a little look at,
pull them up, man.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the one. Well, let's see now. Put that on there. Back here. This is your one. Your dude looks well cool, man. I'm jealous. Scott's dude looks well cool. See if this is gonna work. If I come over here. Window. See here. There we go. So that's you, dude. That's you. That's the King of Swords, man.
Nice. I dig it.
I like that, dude. I like
dig it, man.
It's a very woke purple cloak that you've got on there, dude. Not many men would get away with a purple cloak like that, I must say. No.
Hey.
So what's this? Is that no, it's birds, is it? Is that two eagles?
It's two eagles. Yeah, it's what Mary said.
Yeah. And that's one powerful looking crown. One powerful looking crown.
I know. Looks like there's some definite power action going on there. I like it.
What's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. An 8-spoked wheel. Oh, the geometrists out there will be going crazy. So that's the King of Swords. That's your one. Now I'm very disturbed because mine has got a little touch of the.
Come on, man.
Excuse me, it's ma'am.
It's definitely got a touch of the mams about it, right?
Hey.
Don't be judgy. Is that what you're
Cool,
saying?
though.
Don't be judgy.
No, I like that. I think that looks cool as well.
Oh, look at this. Look at the spiral, dude.
That's exactly what I was just about to say. I think we both saw that at the same time. The spiral thing. You know what, Kev? Maybe this has something to do with your ties to Australia, Donnie. You know, the petroglyphs out there.
Damn, dude. That's you know, when you look at original art, that spiral, that's really, really prominent in all of it, I must admit.
Didn't Mary say that this has a lot to do with like nature and grounding and kind of getting in touch with like Mother Gaia, the feminine, you know?
But
So
squint my eyes, it kind of looks like AOC a little bit in a green dress.
Oh no, come on.
It's her green deal. Look, she's got her green deal going on. She's got the dress, man. Did I have to ruin it for you like that? Did I? Did that ruin it?
See.
I know. I keep getting told, Kev, stop being honest about that. Just let it go. Just like keep it for private.
Do you have a what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got an 8-spoked flower or wheel?
So we've got a bit of an 8. Are we? I like it, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, what do you make of the tarot? What do you make of that? What do you make of the tarot?
I think there's something to it as well.
Yeah, same here.
I'm also picking out other things on this. So was it right above her head? There's like a star within a spiral?
Yep, looks like it. Yep.
Like a galaxy spiral or something?
It could be because it comes out from the center. Yep.
Go back to my card.
Okay.
There's like a spiral, like in his chest, right above these row of stars.
Yeah. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stars. Shame it wasn't 7. We could have said it was the Pleiades, but look at all the spirals, dude.
Yeah.
Kevin Scott's really dodgy tarot interpretation hour commences.
I'm sure Mary's just like face palming right now. Like, look at these goofballs. But I don't know. She said, you could see whatever whatever you see in it.
Exactly. I mean, somebody like Mary can interpret them, but I don't think there's any harm in us looking at them and finding relevance and significance and for our own patterns that we recognize. No harm in that, right?
Yep. No harm in that at all. I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
You know, if something catches your eye and speaks to you, that's a message meant for you. Maybe others won't see it, but if you see it.
It sounds weird, right? But you'd think on the face of it, a person like Mary Dusina and then the show I do with Bill, you would think on the face of it, the programming that's out there, these two kind of characters, these two subject matters are very far removed. But when you actually drop all of that and sit and listen to both of them, they both talk about divine spirit. They both talk about spiritual battles. They both talk about guardian angels. There's so many parallels between what Mary and what Bill talks about. And that's like no coincidence. Because there's many different ways to get to the same information. There's many different ways to talk about the same spiritual battles and stuff that's going on. Just because somebody has one belief system that might be different or opposed to another belief system, when you can get by all of that junk, you start listening to the stories, oh, by golly, do you know what? They fit like a hand in a glove. There is no real difference. It's just the words and the language we use, right?
There are many different streams and smaller rivers that all lead to the main river, my friend.
Oh, like a damn, dude. That's like some kind of like Zen statement from 1,000 years ago said in a pyramid in China somewhere. Wise man once said to a butterfly. Yeah.
Hey, maybe
many rivers and many estuaries that take you to the one sacred spot, Scotty.
Exactly. Like I said, maybe my pineal gland is pulsing. Maybe it's
Did you have the time dilation thing that happens? Did time kind of slow down a bit?
Like when the event occurred?
Yeah. While it was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that seemed like my head being slammed multiple times into the side of the van. It definitely seemed like that was occurring a lot slower than it really did.
Well, I remember we were in a car that rolled a couple of times, and it was like me and my mate. We talked about it afterwards, but it was both like we looked round at each other as if we kind of had it felt like we could have had a conversation in the time it took for the flip to happen, and we both experienced it because he said, because he's the same when we'd calmed down, we're like, you looked at me for ages, and I'm thinking, well, no, I looked at you for ages, and we're like, that time's weird. And I think you have to experience it. You have to really have been there and been in that moment. Like Scotty, when I said to him there, he recognized right away what I was talking about because it's weird. You don't lose that. You don't lose a memory of that feeling very quickly, do you? Because that's not right. That's uncanny valley stuff.
Nah, yeah, and it's so fast that, I don't even think your adrenaline has time to kick in, right? So it's not like a fight or flight response, because I can understand, like, if something crazy is happening and your adrenaline kicks up, how you have to make split-second decisions, to survive. And so time would seem like it slows down. It's almost like you go into the Matrix. You feel like you're Neo, making split-second decisions. But when something really fast happens like that, your adrenaline doesn't have time to take over. And so I think there's something else weird going on there, right? And I mean, I don't know if you sustained any injuries or whatever from the car roll or anything like that, but just when something like that happens, it's weird. It does seem time slows down. Time does slow down
I'm like a cat, dude. I've been in 2 significant car crashes and barely a scratch on me, man.
Yeah, I've been in. When I was 7, we went off the highway from black ice, and luckily, my mom was driving and just hit black ice on the highway.
That's horrendous. Oh.
Oh,
may I throw out there, I wasn't driving on either occasion when I was in a traffic accident. It wasn't my doing. Before people out there are saying that Baker can't drive, I drive very, very proficiently, thank you. We
did a full 360 in the middle of the highway.
Nice.
Spun around and then went off into the ditch and almost rolled. And I was sitting in the passenger seat, ended up on the floorboard. Didn't get hurt or anything, but it was a crazy situation. And now that I think about it, time kind of slowed down during that little situation as well. I mean,
so Scotty, before we go, as algorithm friendly as you can, I've penciled out next Thursday on the Emerald tablets. No guest gets to take that date. It's a Scotty date. A couple of weeks now you've been building up. You've got a lot to talk about. So can you kind of like tease the audience into the wrath of Scott that's about to be unleashed? There's a whole can of whoop ass about to be opened up next week, folks. Can you do it?
It's just gonna be woodshed time. Do
I need a wood chipper sound effect for the full show?
I think so. I think so. I gotta unload on all the craziness going around. Situation going on in Cuba, and just a whole plethora of things that I've been
a smorgasbord.
A smorgasbord. And yes, definitely not algorithm friendly. We will not be simulcasting on YouTube. No way whatsoever.
I think I might even invite Joe Joseph for that.
Oh, please do.
See, because that way we can get it out of his system before the Freaky Friday. You see?
Yes, I think we need these little purges before Freaky. I think it's good. To
not that I orchestrated it that way, or that was in my mind at all, where I could get you guys to just data dump all of your anger, all of the algorithm unfriendly stuff on a Thursday. So by the time Friday comes along, we're jamming. Freaky Friday is full of freaky. But dude, no, thank you for your time today, and thank you for hanging out when Mary's on, because it was the buck moon that wins, dude. Hands down, and I need my Mary time. She really does make me feel like a whole lot better than when I started the show.
Yeah, I love Mary. She reminds me of like a really, really cool aunt. You know what I mean? Like I say, it's that southern draw, that southern comfort thing that it's really, really cool.
Now, somebody in the chat room in big shouty capital letters, nasty, vile, evil people. Sounds like a really good name for a book. I hope you're not talking about us. I've been reported to the police. Okay. Maybe it's because we have a wood chipper. Maybe that's too aggressive for some people. Maybe the thought of us wood chipping the elites is just too much for people, Scott. Indeed. So listen, lots of angry faces in the chat room as well. I think I can probably sort that. But listen, folks, thank you for tuning in today. And I'll be back tomorrow with Scotty, with Nacy, and yes, the captain of the douche canoe. He should be on board. Pardon the pun. Joe Joseph, he will hopefully be with us tomorrow as well. So I hope you all have a great day. Hope you all find something good to go and watch now. Or if not, find a good book. Go and have a nice PPP. Hey, if you're Jules, rewind the show and watch it from the beginning. But remember, folks, you all look after yourselves. And what do we always say on the way out the door here? Keep your mind open. Keep looking for the woo, but not to the point where your brain turns to black goo.